Hello all you wonderful people out there, this is John from Volbeat and you're watching Burning Music.
You're touring Germany right now and it's sold out right now. So how does it feel to have a completely sold out tour in the whole country outside of Denmark?
Feels good.
Yeah.
I mean, Germany in some ways have almost become our second home. We toured a lot in Germany over the years. And it is a big country, but Germany was one of the few countries, maybe the first countries outside of Denmark who really took on to us. So we are very proud and we are very happy that we can present it in a sold out tour in Germany.
Right. And is it also one of the reasons why you decided to took a concert from Germany on your actual DVD and Rock am Ring?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Rock am Ring shows has always been very good to us. And this year we played on the main stage and I had a very good slot, and there were, I don't know how many people, but there were a lot.
80,000.
Something like that, yeah. So it was actually a no-brainer, and said, well, if we can get hold of some of the footage from that show, we're definitely going to use it.
Alright. Speaking of the new DVD, you have 3 shows in them, one in Anaheim in the US, then in Copenhagen, and one in Germany, and the audiences are very different by number. I mean, you have 10,000 in Denmark, 1,000 in the US, and 80,000 in the US, in Germany. Do you feel any difference when you play that shows? I mean, from so many people to so many people? Or do you prefer one kind of a show?
No, it's all good. You know, no matter if it's small or big, it doesn't really matter. I mean, some shows can have some advantages that other shows don't have. I mean, if you're playing, excuse me, like we did at the Rock am Ring in front of 80,000, you cannot reach everybody, which you can in a small club like the Anaheim shows. But we just did it because we thought it could be interesting for people and for ourselves, you know, to see how this is how the band looks in a smaller club, this is how it looks with the main stage, and this is how it looks on one of the biggest festivals in Europe.
Yeah. But you're going more far away from the smaller clubs because your band's going to be is much bigger than years before. You played smaller clubs. I can remember you were playing for about a couple of hundred people, and today there are about 6,000 in the already. So I don't know. What do you think will be the next step for you? I mean, you play with such big bands. You played with Metallica. You're going to play in the US with Megadeth and Motorhead, which are legends. I mean, it must be a dream come true.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of funny because we did play, I think, 2 shows with Megadeth a few years ago. I think 2008, I think it was.
Yeah, the Big Four?
No, it was before it was actually Megadeth was headlining a European tour, and they invited us to play with them in Finland actually, which was very good for us because that was one way to open the Finnish market actually. And then we played with them in Copenhagen, I think, a few days later. Michael has met Dave a few times and talks a lot with him when they meet up and stuff like that. So when that offer came along, you know, there was just say yes please. And I mean, people have often asked us, which band would you like to tour with? Now that you play with all of them, since we played with a lot of them, and we always say Motorhead. You know, we would always love to go on tour with Motorhead. So now we got the best of both worlds, actually. Megadeth and Motorhead.
Is there actually any band left you want to tour with?
Yeah, there's always a few bands left. I mean, we
haven't toured with.
We haven't really played with Iron Maiden actually.
Alright.
They did headline the Sonic Sphere show this year. I think it was in Poland. I think it was in Poland where we were playing, but that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
But so yeah, definitely Maiden would be a cool opportunity to go out with Iron Maiden actually.
Okay. So you played the show in Copenhagen on the DVD, and there were so many guest appearances by so many musicians. How did you manage to get all of them to one show? I mean,
it took a bit of work actually to make it all happen, and it was a bit stressful that whole day. First of all, because we were playing in our home city in front of a sold-out crowd of 10,000, and then it was decided, why not see if we can bring all the guests from all the albums basically together. I mean, Barney from Napalm couldn't be there, unfortunately.
So it was the same.
LG from Entombed went up and did that, and then the 2 other singers that sings in Danish, and The Garden's Tale and Pernille, who does Marion's place, they always come up if we're playing in Denmark. Actually, if they got the time, they'll always.
There was Mille from Creator.
We've talked to Mille and said, hey, you know, we're doing this huge show. Do you want to come up and do it? He was like, sure, will. So it was kind of easy to get hold of him. Unfortunately, Creator wasn't on tour at that point. So
yes, and that was quite surprising to me as I saw the DVD for the first time.
We talked to him and said, hey, do you fancy come to Copenhagen, you know, and do the show? And he was like, yeah. So
I've seen some the behind the scenes footage, and Anders, the guitar player, said that you had enough time to practice with all of the musicians that day. I mean, was it difficult for you to play that show with? I mean, you banned it on tape for the DVD, so many things could happen that shouldn't happen. But it looked like everything went right.
I seem to recall everything went right. It's over a year ago, so I don't really remember if there were any huge mistakes. There probably were mistakes, but it is.
Yeah, not to me. I've seen it.
But yeah, fortunately, because it was a bit like a circus, because then this one has to come in, this one has to go out, this one has to come in. But I think it worked pretty smoothly actually in the end, you know.
So you're touring almost every year.
Mm-hmm.
So do you plan after this tour to make another album, or want to break for a couple of months or a year or more? Because there's always an album, then a tour cycle. It's going on like that.
We don't really fancy taking a whole year off. I mean, that would be too much.
So you like the road?
Yeah, well, that's what we do, you know. Yeah, we like playing on the road. We like coming to new cities, new countries. But after the Megadeth Motorhead tour, I don't really know what's going to happen. I think we're going to take some time off actually, and probably hide ourselves in the rehearsal room and try to come up with some new stuff for the next album.
Yeah, is it still the same fun as it was years ago? I mean, playing in front of new crowds all around the world. I mean, experience new crowd all around the world in countries you've never been before.
It's always exciting, you know. If it turns into, I think that if it's not exciting anymore, then it becomes like a pain for you, and then people will actually know that. I mean, people today are smart; they can see that if you're just going through the motions, you know. So for us, it's still exciting, and I think the day when it's not exciting anymore, I think that's it.
Right.
Then we're going to pack it in.
You have, as you said before, you had many featurings with many musicians. Are there any plans for another featuring with somebody? Or a candidate you want to have on your next album?
I could think of a few people that I thought it would be fun, but that's way too early to say. I mean, a lot of the interviews that both Michael and I have done over the last few days, it has one of our questions, who are you going to work with next time? And we both say, well, we don't know, we may not work with anybody next time. I mean, because there's been somebody on basically every album, so maybe there won't be anybody on the next time, or maybe there will. I mean, everybody keeps asking and say, oh, aren't you going to get James Hetfield to do something for the next album? It's like, I don't think so, but who knows?
Fun to have people.
Maybe we're going to use Lou Reed. Or maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about your career. Yeah, go on.
No, but that's way too early to say. I mean, if Michael comes up with something where you can maybe hear another voice or another guitar or whatever, he will probably by then always.
Yeah, especially these songs are the ones who show the people how many influences you have. I mean, there's quite a difference between songs like, I don't know, there's no featuring like $16 and 7 Shots. I mean, 7 Shots is almost a trash metal song.
Yeah,
$16 is almost
it's kind of
complete rockabilly song.
Yeah, that's why we had Jacob from Tagatones to play slap bass.
Yeah,
because that's what he is at. I mean, to get Mille to participate in something, it has to be something that's not a rip-off of Creative, of course, but something that maybe a slight idea that maybe Creative would have used or something. And it's the same thing with Barney, you know. We didn't want to rip off Live on Death, but on the other hand, we needed something kind of a songwriting.
You have the song with Barney. Did he ever play the song live with you on stage?
He just did in England, actually, about 2 weeks ago. We were playing in London, And he actually stepped right off a plane from Canada, went straight to London and almost straight up on stage. He slept for like an hour and a half or something. So, yeah, we got him to do it in London. That was really killer.
Yeah, I would really like to know what are your biggest influences right now on your music writing? So what inspires you to do what you do right now?
Me personally, or?
Yeah, you personally. I mean, you can speak for the other ones.
Well, I can't speak for the other. You know, I don't know what they would feel, but I mean, no, it's still, for me, it's still the old school kind of drumming. Always has been. I mean, all the new players, like in my view, is like Jimmy Joyson, for instance. He's a brilliant drummer, but I can't do what he do. He's too technical for me. So for me, it's still that I get the biggest kick out of still watching, for instance, David Barlow play. He is the king, no matter what. Or maybe a guy like Nick McBrain from Iron Maiden. I really adore his drumming as well.
Yes. It doesn't have to be technical just to be good.
No.